All right. Hello, everyone, whether you're listening live or listening to the replay. I'm so excited. I decided a few days ago or so to try something a little bit different with the Let's Talk About Layoffs podcast. And what we're doing is, where possible, we're bringing guests into the Facebook group and doing our podcast episode there, airing it live, taking any questions in the comments that we can during the time that we have together. So I am very excited to welcome Elena with us this time as our first guest. So thank you, Elena.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. What an honor to be your first guest. It really is. When I saw the first podcast guest, I I got super excited. It is an honor, so thank you for choosing me.
Awesome. Thank you. So, Elena, we are going to talk about all things like life insurance, health insurance. But before we dive in and share some more information, can you just give a little bit of your background and what you do?
Yes, absolutely. So I have been in insurance for. I first of all, I love insurance, and I love to educate people on insurance. I am a life insurance and Medicare broker. Broker means that I'm not an agent. I'm not married to one company, meaning that I have access to multiple companies because many people don't know, but every company has their own underwriting. And some companies, let's say, are more lenient towards someone who has lung problems or cardiovascular diseases, and it's all different. It is not the same. It's like a book. Somebody can say, "Well, I have a book. Why are you giving me this book? I already have one." Well, no, you got to read them. They're not the same books, and what's inside the books is different. So being a broker is definitely gives me freedom of having more choices, having more choices, so I can help more people. I used to be in the corporate world, and I was there for 11 years in the banking industry. And one day I woke up and I was done. I walked away. I slept for a couple hours and I thought, okay, well, now what? And I went back to insurance. I did insurance before my banking journey in my life chapter. So I went back to the insurance industry because I just love it. It's expensive to have insurance, but it's more expensive when you don't have insurance. So yeah, and we're in this beautiful country, United States of America, where everything needs to be insured. People insure their phones, but people don't insure their lives.
Right. Great example. Yeah. And we were even just messaging back and forth a little bit in the last couple days and talking
Mhm.
about kind of how we met. And I know you had been working with a friend and helping her and her husband with their insurance, their life insurance needs. And I think it was around that time that I actually brought up that with our car insurance company, I had gotten a call, and it would have been 2020 around that time frame. And I said, my car insurance company called me. They said, "Hey, we want to get you life insurance." And I had been thinking about it. I just heard more about it, that I should have it outside of the company that I worked for, because you never know if you're going to still stay with your company. And I think I had told you the story, and I said, they called me and they're like, "Yeah, we can get you life insurance." And I said, "I bet you can't, because I had breast cancer earlier this year." And they're like, "Oh no, like we'll find something for you." And I'm like laughing while I'm on hold. And they come back and they're like, "Yeah, you're right. Like, we don't have anything for you." And I was like, "I didn't think you did." So I remember telling you that story, and you're like, "Actually, there are some potential policies that you can get." So you had come over, talked to my husband and I. We
Mhm.
ended up figuring out we have, I think it's 4 policies between the two of us. And that was a couple years even before, like, I got laid off from my company. And so, do you just want to share a little bit about maybe even your journey of helping people, or some examples where you were able to help them? Because a lot of times people are like, "I don't think I could get insurance."
Well, I'm not going to say the name, obviously, but 2020 brought amazing people into my life. 2020, more people were on the social media platforms, and lots of people. I met amazing, incredible people in 2020, including you. And I met another person, and her mom was paralyzed for a long time. And we talked, and she says, I don't think I can get anything from my mom. My mom doesn't have anything. I don't know how long my mom has, but I don't think that long. I said, look, I mean, there are some options.
Mhm.
They called guaranteed life insurance guaranteed policies, meaning that they do not do any medical underwriting, meaning that if someone, so anyone can be eligible for this policy, right? Pretty much. But the only thing is, if within 2 years, this person, the insured person, the proposed insured passes away, they do refund all the money plus 10% interest to the beneficiary if this person passes away as a result of any disease or illness. If they pass away as a result of any accident, it will pay the full amount, the face value of that policy. And I said, I cannot guarantee you anything, but she will get it. But here is, this, and this. And she went for it. And I said, I'm pretty sure you've been taking care of your mom for so long time. That's totally fine. And she just messaged me a couple of weeks ago that she got the check in mail. Her mom passed away.
Oh,
The 2 years passed by, and
wow.
I know how much she was caring for her mom, and I'm sure her mom is very happy. That she took the step, and it was it was a life, the whole life, the face value was paid to her.
Nice. Nice.
I had people passing away. I had filed claims, death claims. It's not fun to do,
Mhm.
but when that family receives funds, to keep going, to have those funds for the loved one to have a funeral and paid off debts and this and that. People like, wow, that was a good idea that I got life insurance. I can tell you that nobody never
Right.
ever regretted getting life insurance. What it
Mhm.
paid off. People
Yep.
like, yeah, I did not regret about that decision. I did not, yeah, mom was right or dad was right. Or yes, or sometimes parents, they don't have money, but they allow their parents to make those monthly payments, so they're beneficiaries. So there are lots of different situations. Especially a good friend of mine just reached out to me a couple of weeks ago. They are thinking to purchase a home, and it's a family with the little kids. So yes, for them, getting $400,000-500,000 into debt, it's probably a good idea to get $40-50 life insurance, at least on the breadwinner. If
Mhm.
something happens, then, because typically what happens is when someone passes away, the other half and kids move in with one of the parents. They downsize, they sell the house, they cannot afford it. Like, and it's like a snowball. It's just, losing your loved one, losing the income, and losing your mind. So I'm not saying those money will replace anyone. It's not. But I'm saying it can definitely help to little mitigate well, first of all, so it does mitigate the risk, because the whole thing, what insurance is to mitigate financial risk. Okay. We have a 4 different type of risk: operational, reputational, financial, and legal. Well, here we're talking about financial risk. And financial risk is pretty much losing everything, and or creating GoFundMe account. I have a T-shirt saying GoFundMe is not life insurance, because it's not. And I have lots of examples where yeah, people struggle. People emotionally going through such a huge loss, and they have to figure out how to um, bury that person, because it's at least $15,000 if it's a regular burial.
Mhm.
And everything is going up every single day, pretty much inflation.
Right. And somebody might even say, like, well, they said they're going to be cremated. That still costs money too.
Yeah,
And
yes.
like taking care of their belongings or, whatever they have, it involves money. So it's not just like you're getting life insurance so somebody can go live a luxurious life. It's taking care of those basic needs most of the time.
Yeah, it's a loss
Yeah.
of income. It's
Yep.
the income loss, the replacement of that income, especially if it's, I was a single mom for many years. I raised my daughter on my own. I always made sure I had life insurance. I would never want my child to go through, through that,
Right.
figuring out how she's going to bury her mom
Right.
and what
And
she's going to do for life and losing house. And I
yes.
would never want to do it for my daughter.
Right. And the nice thing too, I remember when you came over to our house and we kind of sat down, talked about things, you were
Mhm.
very open about like, what are you looking for? Helping us to figure out because we were kind of like, we have no idea. And so putting us in a scenario of like, if something happened to me, what would we do for my husband and what would he need for, and vice versa. And you did really well about what is your budget because some people, when you go to talk to them, are probably like, I have no idea. And so we tried to figure out like what does that look like, and then you were able to help with policies with that.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I know if people could afford, they would have $1 million of life insurance. But I'm sorry, you don't have to choose. You shouldn't be choosing between paying for your health insurance or for your life insurance, and or deciding if you should be buying food. Like that's not.
Right.
So budget, yeah, maybe $50. What is your budget? And typically, pretty much almost 100% of cases, if you don't have a budget, you can create budget. I will never forget when I went to someone's home here in the Powell area, and the guy was a truck driver, and his wife, I think she did not work. And when I got there, I saw him smoking outside. So I said, "So how much do you spend on cigarettes?" He says, "Well, first of all, I almost don't smoke. Like when I smoke, I just took a couple of hits and I just threw it away out of window." I'm like, "Well, you'll also litter, but okay." And he says, "So $200 a month on cigarettes." And we got to life insurance, it was $50. And he said he doesn't have the money for that. Talking about priorities, right?
Right. Right.
And he's
Wow.
a truck driver. He could at least get accidental death only life insurance, which is much cheaper.
Right.
They only pay if there is, uh, if there is some sort of accident.
Hmm.
Accident, it's not doesn't cover if someone passes away as a result of any disease or illness. So yes, it was kind of like, okay, well then it's not important to you. Look, it is not
Right.
important. So just say that you don't care. Just say it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, without thinking, wow, okay, already.
And a lot of times people like you will get life insurance maybe for a small dollar amount. I think typically you're paying with an organization that you're working for. And I will tell you for so many years I was like I'm fine. Like
Mhm,
I'm secure in this job. Like I don't
mhm.
have to worry about anything else. And the numbers and the news about layoffs and companies shutting down and different things like that, nobody's really secure anymore. Nobody
Nope,
knows what's going to
nope.
happen. So especially for me, with I think both of the policies that you wrote for me had the 2 year. Is it a rider? I think is it called because of
Mm-mm,
my.
it's not a right.
Oh, okay,
It's a guaranteed
a
life.
guarantee. Okay.
Guaranteed life insurance. Huh?
Okay. So I had 2 years. So if anything happened in that 2 years, I would have gotten the money back that I paid towards it. But, after that 2 years, I would be covered. So I've surpassed that 2 years and I'm
Ah,
good now. And I'm so
yeah.
glad that I did because if I would have
Mhm.
waited, I would have had to wait a lot longer. So I thank you for that and taking care of us.
Yes, you're welcome. And imagine like you lost your job, which was total unexpected, right?
Mhm.
And if you did not have what we got for you, now you would be thinking, oh my gosh, now I have 2 years to
Mhm.
wait. I lost this. Well, people do not, people, that's my biggest probably pet peeve is, why are you talking to me about life insurance? I am good. I'm covered. I have life insurance through my job. First of all, great. Congratulations, because not even every employer offers that anymore.
Hmm.
You have a group life insurance, okay? Typically, the key word here is typically, depending on how many years you work there, but typically it's 1 year worth of your salary, okay? So if we have a family of 4 people and the dad has, let's say, he has $50,000 life insurance. They have a $500,000 home, the credit card debt, car payments. The dad is gone. Okay,
It's
the
not going
mom.
to touch any of
Okay,
that,
well, you're
right?
gonna make it through maybe a few months. After you pay $15,000 towards the funeral, you have 30K left, $35,000 left. Your mortgage is $3,000. Okay, you're gonna make it maybe for a year, maybe, and
Right.
that's it. Now, other thing is dangerous. Now, remember, it's a part of your benefit package where employers trying to attract you to work there. Okay, it's like a honey and bees, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Well, wonderful. While you're there, you have it. It's okay to have. It's not a must to have. It's good to have, but it's not enough. You do not own it. You are renting it.
Mhm.
You're renting that life insurance for a few dollars a month. People are like, why are you showing me this $50 or 70? I only pay $3 a month for my life insurance. Awesome. But it's not enough. I mean, have you even thought about it? If you did not come home yesterday, what would be your spouse doing today? Even if you have spouse, what would your kids be doing today? They're
Right.
like, I didn't think about it. I'm like, well, let's talk about it. But
Yep.
another thing, like when I was working in the corporate world and I did not have life insurance, right? I
Mhm.
started like after I left, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God I did not develop diabetes or cancer or anything like that while I was there, because I would be uninsurable, or, I would, a good option to have is the guaranteed issue. But
Mhm.
guaranteed issues is also have a 2 year waiting period, and they typically 25, 30, the most $50,000. So uh, get life insurance while you're young and while you're
Mhm.
healthy and while you're in a good health, and own that policy. Do not allow your employer to make those decisions for you and put your life in jeopardy, because that's exactly what it is.
Right. Right. So, Elena, I want to transition over to health insurance,
Okay.
because this is something that you helped me with recently too. Um,
Good.
and I know that you've gotten into and done a lot more with Medicare if people have the opportunity to leverage Medicare, but also with the marketplace. So when I got let go, I first person I contacted was Elena, and I said, "Thank you for setting me up with my life insurance." Like, shoo, that was a relief for me.
Mhm.
But now I have to think about health insurance. And Elena was like, "You're going to get a job. Like, you're going to get a job before your health insurance runs out at the end of the year." And I was like, "I don't know if I want to get a job. I might want to take my business and kind of run with that." And so we figured out the right time and we were able to meet to make the deadlines. There's certain deadlines for that. And you were able to direct me to figure out where to go, what to look for, answered any questions I had. So I was able to secure that policy. So it started, there was no lapse in between. Like it started the day after I lost mine. So do you want to share a little bit more about the things that you do related to health insurance and how you can help people with that?
Yes, absolutely. So Medicare, I love Medicare. I love to help people with Medicare, because there's lots of people very confused with Medicare. It is a confusing and complicated topic. But I don't like to do easy stuff. So I got myself into health insurance. So Medicare is a health insurance just for certain type of people. Then my referral partner a year ago, it was a year ago. It was not the 2023, 2022. She said, she's a Russian speaking. She said, I need someone. And she's awesome. She offers car insurance and auto insurance. So when people come to her, She's Russian speaking, and I'm Russian speaking. So we serve, people from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, like all those countries, Russian speaking. Because it's so complicated for American people who but imagine how difficult it is to understand for them, because the healthcare in those countries are kind of different. Okay. And she says, I need someone to send to. I need a person, because they asked me about health insurance. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm too busy with car and with home insurance. So I need someone to send my people to. So you do the marketplace. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. She said, no, no, please, please. I said, oh my gosh. So I did the test, the exam, whatever needed. I'm like, okay, well, let's start doing it. So the last season, I only had 100. I only had maybe like 10 clients. Now I have 100. So it's like, it's just, I had today someone calling me, someone who moved from New York, three people. And so let's talk about health insurance. You do have options when it comes to health insurance. Okay. Medicaid, it is a health insurance that is covered by a state of Ohio or any other state, that all the taxes we pay and whatever. So for people who are less fortunate, those income is considered to be low. And okay, but there's like a couple dollars that can push you away from joining Medicaid. And well, what are you supposed to do if you make just little money, your employer does not offer you medical insurance? Maybe your spouse doesn't work, you only work, or maybe you don't work, but maybe your spouse gets, like, who knows what situation could be. And then what are you supposed to do? How are you going to afford paying $1,000 for health insurance that still has a bunch of deductibles, a high amount of deductibles, or co-insurance or co-pay? What are you supposed to do? Is that Emerson? Hi,
Yes.
Emerson. Sweet girl. Okay, so what are you supposed to do? So President Obama, I don't know, was it 2008, 2010? Do not quote me on that. Actually, I think it's one of the awesome things that he did is Obamacare, also known as as a marketplace, as a healthcare.gov, as an Affordable Care Act. It's all the same thing.
Mhm.
Okay, so people who make a little bit too much money for Medicaid and cannot afford, and they do not get any offers through their employer, or if they do, it's extremely expensive. There's a formula for that. So marketplace is an option. And based on your zip code, based on your income, based on your age, like they ask certain questions, is the system shows you how much subsidy you're eligible for. And lots of my clients pay $0 a month for the very good, actually, insurance plans. There's a little thing that if your income changes, you must report it to Marketplace, because since it's a subsidy, I'm not a CPA. Since the subsidy and they pay for you subsidy where they shouldn't pay, it's government money you are playing with, then if you do not report it, well, I'm sorry, but you're not following the rules. So yes, you will have to return portion or maybe a good chunk of those money. Play
Mhm.
by the rules, be a good person, do what you're supposed to do, and you will be fine. So yes, that's the very easy to do. Have your healthcare.gov account. You can do it on your own. My service is absolutely free, whether it's Medicare, life insurance, or health insurance. I'm not financial advisor. I do not charge any fees. Some people do. I do think they do, but we do, but we don't. So why not to use a licensed professional and educate yourself, allow that person educate you and ask questions, and make a decision based on information, not what your auntie thinks or your neighbor or whoever it is, or your grandma. I get that very often with Medicare. Well, my grandma had this plan, so I'm going to go with this plan too.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
the times changed. So what your grandma needed, it doesn't mean that you will need it. So every approach is individual, and treat yourself as you're the most important person. And meet with professionals, sometimes maybe even with a few, and to make a decision and get yourself covered.
Yeah, and it's always good too to reevaluate like every year to make sure that you're on the right plan because I know like even with my mom with Medicare, like looking at her Medicare and I think you were able to save her some money each month
Mhm.
for her plan by making sure because especially with individuals on Medicare if they're older, that stuff is even more complicated for them to understand. So having somebody to support you and to help you think through that is great.
Yeah, I have people who have been on Medicare for 20, 25 years. They never, ever reviewed the
Oh,
options.
wow.
Never. And
Wow.
partially it's their fault because they think, if nothing is broken, there is nothing to fix. But rules change all the time. Doctors
Mhm.
come in and coming out of networks all the time.
Yep.
Companies are being more creative. They offer more services. I met today with a woman. I had a presentation today at a senior center in Westerville. So this woman had no idea that she has a transportation services. She has 30 rides a year,
Oh.
and she has been on this plan for 12 years.
Oh my gosh. That could have saved so much for
Mhm.
her.
She says,
Yeah.
"Well, we have that senior bus coming to get us and taking us to place." I said, "You didn't know that you have
Mm.
30. I don't know if it's a round trip up to 50 miles." And she got so excited. She doesn't drive anymore. She says,
Oh.
"Oh, now I can go to OSU." I'm like, "Yes, you can."
Oh.
Yeah, it
So it's
was great.
definitely worth looking into and seeing.
Always, and I
Yeah.
always suggest when it's open healthcare open enrollment for healthcare, for Medicare, your life insurance. I always suggest when you change, when they change that time, pull
Mhm.
out all your policies. Whether it's a springtime or fall time. Pull all your policies you have, all your insurance policies. I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. How would someone remember what they took 15, 20 years ago? And they think they have
Right.
like a life insurance and they die as a result of COVID or something, or whatever it is. And then when family files claim, it gets denied because they actually had accidental death only insurance, life insurance.
Right.
And this happens all the time. So then people get mad, they get upset. But it is your responsibility to read those policies. It is your responsibility to ask questions. It is your responsibility to get clarity and clarification. It's
Yep.
not my responsibility, it is yours.
Yeah. And it's not hard. It's
It is
reaching out, a phone call, a text, like whatever that might be. And now
correct.
everybody has a contact. So if they need the help, they can reach out to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one thing I want to add before we kind of wrap up is I did get paperwork just in the last week or so from
Mhm.
my former employer about Cobra. And I was very interested in looking at the dollar amounts.
Uh-huh.
I was never thinking I'm going to go on Cobra. I know some people feel like they don't have any other option, but they do. And they need to know that they do. And the amount of money is ridiculous. So I looked at for my husband and myself, if we were to be on Cobra for our medical,
Mhm.
our vision, and our dental, it would be about $1,800 a month out of pocket.
I mean, that is crazy.
With what Elena has been able to do for my husband and myself, I think combined we are maybe 470. It's right under $500 combined out of pocket for us. So
Mhm.
nowhere near that amount. And some people get a severance check and think, "Oh, well, I'll be able to." But think of how many more months you could have if you were to do a different plan. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add about Cobra
Yes.
specifically.
I remember when I left the corporate banking world,
Mhm.
I got this Cobra package. It was $1,100. That was 5, 6 years ago. I'm like, screw that. I'm not doing it.
Yes.
I'll become so healthy. Like, I am not gonna use this. No, I 11. Are you? I just lost a job, and you offering me Cobra options, and it's 1,100. Are you serious?
Right, right.
No, but some people they don't know they have options. Some people, it's either this or nothing. No, you do have options. You do
Yes,
have options. So yeah.
yes. Yeah. All right. So thank you, Elena, for coming on to this
No.
episode. I'm so excited that we had a chance to talk and share all of this with everyone, that they do have options for life insurance, for the health insurance, depending on what their needs are. Elena, for those who have listened and want to get in touch with you now and connect with you and kind of figure out whether looking over existing policies, kind of figuring out what to move to, how would you recommend that they connect with you?
Oh, sorry. I actually, my phone number is 614-432-1516. I love when people call me, text me. I get too many emails. So you can call me, text me at 614-432-1516. You can, I don't know if you can share my LinkedIn profile. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. But I think phone is the best one. From what I
Okay.
found is pick up the phone and just call me and let's have that conversation. And sometimes it's tough to have this conversation. I know some people have. I have someone who has, a couple people that they might have HIV, they might have something, and it's tough for them to share that. But I would never ever, share someone else's business.
Yeah.
I protect you very, very much. So
Yes.
I don't want to
Thank
lose my license.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Elena. I appreciate
I
you being on
cannot
with
hear
us.
you.
Oh,
Uh,
can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't know. I had a call
Okay.
coming in, but it's okay. I'm glad that we are almost done. So I'm sorry, Tracy. I cannot hear you for
No,
some reason.
that's okay. Thank you. I'll go
Wow.
ahead and wrap up. And thank you, Elena, and thank you everyone for listening, and
I
have a great
cannot read
day.
your lips, but I think